Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to look at the recipes for reception coil. So let's have a look at those. So if we've got reception coil, it means that it needs power of some kind to work. So all these blocks, like we saw in the last episode, the Redstone Furnace and the Pulverizer, they're both using the reception coils. And that means that they actually require power to work, as does the sawmill, the induction smelter, the magma crucible, the fluid transposer, glacial precipitator, the cyclic assembler, the energetic infuser, and also some Mine Factory Reloaded items as well, which actually seem to synergize quite well. Let's not focus on those though. Whereas the transmission coil, these are going to be producers. So all these are going to produce. So the energetic infuser actually, well, it uses both. So that's nice. So that becomes irrelevant in a sense. But we will look at this in a bit later. So something like the steam dynamo is really what I was pointing at here. This is why because it uses the transmission coil. It means that it's actually going to produce power for us, which is what we want. We want to produce power, and that's do the other engines. And I may have to look at Mine Factory Reloaded very soon, actually. Because when I last looked, it wasn't RF wasn't even in the system at that point. So yeah, so let's now move on. Let's just carry on. Okay, now let's make a quick note about the interface. Okay, so we've got our engine here. Just get a crescent hammer as well. So we've got our interface, and what we want to do is I just want to talk about what the interface is, specifically this redstone panel here. So the default state of this is it's an inverter by default, so it's always on. So it's not like if you just buy a TV from the shop, where you're gonna, it's not going to be on. Actually, maybe there's some of them on. No, they're not on. I'm pretty sure they're not on, unless that's changed in the last few years. So they're not actually on. So this is actually starting off on. This already, it doesn't look like it's on, but it is actually on, because if I do this, and then I put the pulverizer down, and then I put the gold ore in, for instance, this is already going to be on. Okay, so it's already on. So just put it in, put the fuel in, and it's already going to be on. Obviously, you need the actual the stuff to put it in, but apart from that, it is always going to be on. So you see, it's already working. Okay, so basically, that's one way of doing things. Okay, so the next thing is so that's already working, and that's all well and good. And it stops the operation if you interrupt it mid-flow like that. All right. So another thing that we can do is we can change this to so the redstone is ignored, and then we have the low signal. The low signal is going to keep on doing it until we get a signal. So let's just we've already got some energy in there, unfortunately. So let's get rid of it and start again. Okay. All right, so basically, let's get a signal. Let's just and you saw what happened there. This is turning it off. Okay, now let's have a high signal. Now it's turning it on. So we see the difference there. The low signal is on. It's default on, so it's going to be on unless it's provided with a redstone signal, in which case it's going to be off. With the high signal, it's going to be off unless provided. So you can imagine this is like the high version is like the traditional Buildcraft engine style, and then that's just going to, and then it's going to connect there. Yeah, and obviously you can't really show it because it will have an internal buffer, but that's really all. That's the key thing there. Okay, so earlier I mentioned something about the reception coils and the transmission coils. The reception coils being machines that require power, and and the transmission coils being things that being the things that produce power. So there's also a third type of item, and that item is going to is basically this the pneumatic servos, which are for machines that actually don't require any power at all. So they don't produce or need power, but they don't actually require power. So we see we've got Ignis extruder, aqueous accumulator, autonomous activator, terrain smasher, nullifier, and also some interesting mine factory reloaded blocks as well. So I should have what I need here. So we need 2 spots here for the water, for the aqueous accumulator. So we can just go 1, 2. We've got the accumulator there. Put the steam dynamo on top, and you can see already that it's getting the water in. Put that on top, and you can see it's getting the water in. So it's actually working directly through it. Yeah. Okay, let's think about this then. So we're going to put this leadstone conduit here. We also need a hammer here. I can get it from the creative menu. I don't know if I spell it like that there. Actually, it's actually got an attack damage on him. Okay. So, and we also want to put some power in it. So one thing that I wanted to point out, obviously I have already done this, but one thing that I wanted to point out is this way of doing things. I think we can just. So we're gonna have all the stuff coming. We're gonna have the power coming in, so that's fine. Now, when we actually do stuff, what we need to look at is. I wanted to just explain this one more time. Let's basically, if we set this one to red, and this one to yellow. Let's just forget about the rest for now. What we're going to see is that red counts as primary and yellow primary output, yellow is secondary output. So yeah, and orange is both of them. So remember in the last episode it did the whole lot of the first one and then it did the second one afterwards. This way what's going to happen is we'll get the pulverized gold in here. I'll use iron for this because it works a little bit faster, I find. Yeah, there's nothing in this chest yet. So the pulverized iron is going to go in there. So it didn't get anything there, but we should get some ferrous, some pulverized ferrous stuff in here in a minute. And there we go. Because we've got the ferrous metal in there. So it's taken the secondary output and just put it straight in there. So it's a good way to delineate between the primary and the secondary output by using the red and yellow faces. Okay, so what I've done is I've placed down a hopper here. So all the ores are going to go in. I've changed the configurations for the top to be the input there, and just have all the output going to the right hand side there. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll make a redstone furnace. You can see the redstone furnace is a pretty simple thing to make. Some ingots and stuff we've already got, and then we can put the redstone furnace down here. And as long as we've got the output there matched up to the input here, we're going to, everything is going to flow very, very nicely. The furnace is just going to cook things up. So we'll get, for instance, we've got this silver ore. The silver ore is just going to make the silver dust. It's going to immediately leave. It's going to go into the pulverizer. It's going to go here. And then it's simply a case of taking another leadstone here, and we can just put that there like that. Okay, and then that's going to put the stuff into the chest, like should come any second now. There we go, silver ingot. Okay, and yeah, so that will work with silver, gold as well. Okay, so one other thing that we need to think about is how much energy this stuff is actually going to use, and how that could be controlled. And we can see this is draining pretty fast at the moment. Now the actual pipes, if we take a look at the pipes, they're rated at 80 RF per tick. The pulverizer is, if we look, we might be able to find out. Let's have a look. 40 RF per tick. So the power use maximum it can use is 40. So in other words, it's kind of double what's required. And so what we could do actually is we could make this thing, which is the Leadstone Energy cell, which is an energy. Let's just have a look at the recipe for that. If we go to the Leadstone Energy cell, we can see we need copper. Well, actually, we'll go here. We can see for the actual thing itself, for the frame rather, because it comes in a frame first, and much of the stuff is actually made with the frames. So we just need lead and glass and a redstone block. So that's fairly simple. The problem comes with this item, the redstone conductance coil, which uses an electrum ingot. And the way to make electrum is, as you can see, it doesn't seem to be able to be made. If we look at the recipes, it doesn't really tell us much. But what we actually need to do is actually an alloy, and we need to use gold and silver dust to make it. So if we actually look at silver dust, let's find the right one. Let's just do gold dust, to be a bit easier. Okay. And there we can see this is the recipe that we're looking for. Gold dust and silver dust is going to make electrum blend. Okay, we can see it's interesting because it's not actually listed in, but that is how it works. So to get the electrum blend, which is the alloy, and then from there we're able to essentially make. So we can just put that in there as well. So it's going to go in there. That is dropping now. So we need to look at the configuration of this. Okay, so I've placed it down like this. So we want the input to be here and the output to be here. And now we can see it's gaining again. And the advantage of this is that I can actually throttle it. So for instance, if I put the max output to be significantly lower, if I put it on 0, let's try it on 0, this should be dropping, and it is. If I increase it to and actually it's interesting because if you left click on it, it'll go up in 50 increments, and if you right click, it'll go up and down in so let's see 20, so it needs 40, so you can see it's still dropping. Now let's try 40. Okay. It just still seems to be dropping even at 40. So you can see also in the Whaler tooltip there. Oh, well, the reason it's dropping actually is because it's using both of these. So it is actually requiring 80 at the moment. So anything lower than 80 is going to lead to it dropping. So we're going to have to... but yeah, if I did remove one of these, it wouldn't actually... because this is a 40 as well, I believe. Oh, the maximum power is 20. Okay. So it only actually needs 60 to maintain equilibrium. So let's all right, so let's start this again. Let's see if we can get some better readings here. So let's throttle it again. So we're draining power. So we should be, so anything below 60 should lead to, you would think would lead to, so 60 should be the equilibrium kind of thing. Because they're both working. Power usage is 40. Oh, it does actually dip a bit. So it is dipping a little bit. Power usage is 20. So the pulverizer is increasing. So they're both increasing now. I guess they're not being used constantly. The 60, 50 though, it shouldn't be able to maintain itself in just 50, you would think. So that's dropping. And there also seems to be a precedence as well. Because this has not dropped at all. And you see, even if I drop this lower down, if I drop this to 0, let's see how. So this is dropping. Oh, they are both dropping. And you can see it actually stops using power completely. So it's not like it's just running. It actually responds. It's reactive to what's actually going on. So yeah, I wonder if but yeah, if we have it about 50 though, we're going to get more power in. And I think probably about 50 seems to be enough. So it's using 19, and you can see actually, I didn't actually see this statistic before. The power usage is 18, so it's 19 there. So it's only using 40 at the moment. So what it basically does is it makes sure that it can run even if the power is throttled. You see, so I guess then if I reduce this to something pretty crap like 10, you'd expect the power usage to dip. And you can see it is dipping. Because it's not going to be able to maintain that. So the only way for it to continue on is to go slower and slower. So it's only getting 10 per tick. And you can see it's really slowing down now. Because otherwise it's going to run out and not be able to do anything. And this one's not going down yet. But you would expect it to follow suit as well. So we're using 13. There may actually be a option I can. Not this one. I think it's in modules actually. Sure. Would have thought it'd be showing then. Maybe not. But if we look at it now, we're going to see much lower power usage. Let's just put more ore in. I'll just put in some more silver and why not. So I've still got an internal buffer. This is flat on 10 now, so this is taking all the power now. This is going to this is actually still increasing though, which is interesting. It's certainly starting. No, it's going down now. So eventually you would think maybe it's going to settle at 5 and 5. I wonder if that is actually going to happen. It's going back up. But this is almost out. I wonder if is this going to go all the way to 0? Or is this going to start saying that it needs more draw on the network? I wonder. This power is almost out. Let's see if it goes all the way to 0. Or if it decides to do something else. Now it's going up. So it doesn't like being that close to 0. And now it's going to use this buffer. So it's very interesting actually what happens here. And now the power is much lower here. So this is going to go down. And it's probably going to go all the way down to 10 as well. There's still more stuff coming in. So yeah, you can see this is really starting to drop now. Now it's increasing again. This doesn't seem to drop below about 3,000. And I don't think it will. I think that will always be enough. But the advantage, of course, with this is that you can, you know, we got the 40 from the yeah. So the power output is 10. The maximum power is 80. That doesn't seem to be changing at the moment. We've got a continuous source of power. So yeah, so basically this Leadstone Energy cell is only requiring so it says in is 80 and out. No, in and out, yeah. So into the Leadstone Energy cell. That's interesting. So this has only got an output, obviously, which is 10. And the maximum it can do. So 80 and 10. So that is now that's just, I think this is just, yeah, this is just, let's put this on 10 as well. Because this will give us a fair reflection. Okay, so I think anyway, this is going, I mean, yeah, it's still at 3,000. This is storing a lot of energy here. But this is certainly being throttled now. There's no other way to look at it. And obviously, from the looks of it, you can't actually whatever's connected to it controls. You know, well, as long as you've got an energy cell next to it, it's going to control how much you're going to get from the dynamo. So yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for now. So I'll talk about some different concepts in the next episode.